As well, a lot of time people don't understand that age is actually a real thing when it comes to domains. So I try to, instead of building a subreddit and creating links, I actually do mentions of the brand. It works if you have a good brand or if you have a brand that can be good.
Is there such a thing as evergreen marketing in iGaming?
I believe so. You need to make sure that the content is not written just for ranking, but also for converting. And I think that's what people do.
Like, what is like an example of evergreen keyword that is the most surprising to you, that keeps performing very well?
As well, it helps crawlers to navigate. So you are optimizing how the website is being crawled. You're helping your crawl budget. And now it works in all the markets that are, again, very difficult to get in. It doesn't have governmental agreements through T-Mobile. It's too difficult. It works in Japan, doesn't work in Vietnam, doesn't work in USA. Then if your server is too weak, it's unstable, the service is not good, or the website is too heavy and keep crashing, then you don't have a website. So if the crawler cannot come to your website because you shut the door saying, in robots, please don't visit this website, then you have a website for nothing.
Breaking news.
Otis is selling 86% of their inventory to over 40,000 verified buyers, and most of it are instant sales. Are you sitting on a premium age domain? Sign up for Otis Marketplace right now and wait for your check.
Hello, welcome back to Otis Podcast. We're meeting today at SEO Vibes in Zakopane, and I have a special guest with me today, Ivana Flynn.
Hello, everyone.
Ivana is a leading consultant in iGaming with over 17 years of experience in difficult verticals.
Yeah, when you say 17 years of SEO, sounds like I started it. The grandmother of SEO.
In difficult niches.
And in difficult niches, yes.
So, Ivana, can you actually tell us, is there such a thing as evergreen marketing in iGaming?
I believe so. I believe when we talk about evergreen SEO, a lot of people their mind goes to evergreen content. So let's talk about how to play roulette or what are poker rules. And yes, of course, that is evergreen content because that never changes and always be valid. 21 is always 21. But what people stop thinking or completely forget to think about is the quality of your website, so the technical SEO. And this is the evergreen SEO we need to talk about because the technical basics don't change. You simply need to have a website that is crawlable, it's accessible to bots. And if you don't have this basic, then you don't have a website. So this is for me the absolute basic and evergreen of SEO, because when you think of it, the technical part never changes. Content changes. Now we have evergreen ranks and everybody does evergreen and it doesn't rank that well. Now we can use AI. So everybody overuses AI, then it's get punished. Now FAQs work, then they don't work. But the technical basics are technical basics. So you need to have a server that performs. You need to set up your caching times if you don't have dynamic content. You need to allow crawling. You need to optimize your crawling budget, especially if the websites get huge. You want to make sure that the pages that are most important and should be crawled constantly get crawled, that you help crawlers and humans to navigate the website, either through setting up your caching, creating internal links, external links, creating a robots file, obviously, if you don't want certain parts of the website to be crawled or certain crawlers not to access it. For example, you don't want your competitors to understand your backlink profile, so you block Majestic. So that's for me the evergreen. And yes, it exists and it must.
And how about evergreen content? Does this exist elsewhere?
Yes, because they're content that never changes.
Yeah.
And in iGaming, we use it a lot, and it helps Google to understand them. I'm saying Google, but I mean any other search engine that is crawling your website out there to understand what is the website about. You need to have a certain set of articles for the crawler, the engine, to send it to index and to understand, like, okay, this is an iGaming affiliate site, therefore I have this much of educational content, and I don't actually have the content that operator would have. So if you are running an operator, you have different set of content, but the evergreen content is still there, and you need to have it. But because everybody is doing it, you cannot have hopes that you're going to create, this is a roulette, and this is American roulette, and this is poker, and you're going to rank extremely. It's just the basics. And that's why I grow evergreen, because it doesn't change and creates the base.
Yes.
And then you grow from there.
So why is it overlooked so much?
I think a lot of people, especially when you look at the older website, and well-performing website, they have it. But nowadays, because building website with the growth of AI, building website is easy like this. Creating content with AI, it's very, very easy. So we have this influx of new websites that just don't pay attention to the best practices, and they are there to run for 1, 2, 3 months, disappear, and they don't care. And they do it, and they do it successfully because they use lots and lots and lots of practices that don't last forever. They work. I'm not saying they don't. AI content to a certain level works. CTR manipulation works. Lots of bad habits work, just not long term. So if you are building something long term, you create the best basis, you create a good website, you create your content, and you invest in it. If you want to just churn and burn, you have a different approach, and then you don't pay attention to the best practices.
So is this evergreen SEO in iGaming different than in other verticals?
I think every vertical has got its evergreen. The content that it's explanatory about the niche. If it comes to, I don't know, trousers or iGaming, there's always something that needs to be there. Trousers, and they describe, and then you just change the style or the designer. So every niche definitely has got a set of evergreen articles, but how many of each niche I wouldn't be able to tell you, but I think every niche has got.
And these technical basics.
And the technical basics for sure, because that does not change. If the crawler cannot come to your website because you shut the door saying, in robots, please don't visit this website, that you have a website for nothing. If you don't allow the crawlers to freely navigate your website, you have a website for nothing. If the pages cannot be cached and easily read, then you have a website for nothing.
So can you actually walk us through your framework of setting up those evergreen marketing for like from the technical side?
So from the technical side, what you need to think of is you need to have a server, and the server needs to perform enough that the website or websites are going to be able to be visited, crawled, and is going to be able to handle the traffic, because the traffic is bots and humans, and now you've got AI scrapers as well. So you need to think of that. You cannot think like, okay, I have 10 visitors a day. You still have bots that need to come and crawl. They take certain amount of the website, slowing down the website. So you need to have a good, solid, robust server that allows you to set it up for success. So it needs to allow you to set up all the caching requirements if you don't have dynamic content. You need to be able to navigate through the server code response, right? So 404, for example, pages, you need to know what they are and how to treat them. And that's a server response to a website, right? Or your server is down and you get the 500s. So you don't want too many 500s. And if your server is too weak, it's unstable, the service is not good, or the website is too heavy and keep crashing, then you don't have a website. So server is the first thing. Then obviously think of your domain. Either you're going the way of exact mesh, as we talked about at this conference. It still works. Or you go the brand name, and then you build up the long term and you work with the mentions and citations, which is obviously works as an evergreen strategy. Both works, still work, and both will be working. Then you think of the structure of your website. And you actually need to think of it like, what are my main pages? What are my supported pages? And this comes together with the technical, but content, obviously, because you're thinking of the silos and you're thinking of the actual keywords you're going to use, their clusters and the supportive pages and the relations between them. So you'll be building internal pages. However, you still need to make sure that they are crawled, right? So you cannot just create a website and have pages that are not anyhow connected, and you don't allow the crawlers to find them because they are all orphan pages. So you need to create that plan. Then you need to decide what's going to be in your top menu, in your bottom menu. And you want to make sure that all of this works. Depends on the size of the website, but you always need to think that your website most likely is going to grow. You're going to scale up because you want to start somewhere and you're going to go to the future. And if you don't have the healthy basis, you will never be able to scale up. So once you have your technical setup, and technical SEO is a huge part, and people simply don't want to do it. I don't know, maybe it's too boring, maybe it's too tough, but it is the one part that always works. And then you work on your content, then you research your market, because it's not a cookie cutter approach. It's not one thing works for every market and for every website. What works in Japan doesn't work in Vietnam, doesn't work in USA. So here you obviously need to understand the market. You need to understand the psychology of your customer, and then you create that for them.
And the regulations are different in different countries, right?
Yeah, regulations and compliance. There's like they're the biggest enemy of SEO, because SEO in our nature, we are marketers. We want to be seen everywhere. And compliance is telling you not to be seen. They just basically don't even want you to have a website when you think of it. Because anything you say can be twisted and somebody can, sue you thinking, well, this is not compliant. So that's our biggest enemy. But if you are doing a good approach, if you are looking into the long term, you need to understand the regulations. And every country has different regulations. And especially in our industry, different countries are differently legalized. There are different licenses. Some are completely unlicensed. Doesn't mean that you cannot be in this market. You shouldn't be, but because it's Google, you still can be. You just will not be able to easily use PPC ads or other ads. You will really rely on SEO, which means in those great and black markets, your SEO has to be on point.
So how can you scale efficiently in such conditions?
Well, in iGaming, it is a little bit different because we just simply always look on the way how to. We don't hear no. We hear no. It's like maybe.
Exactly.
We don't see no. So you're in a market you shouldn't be. And I know a lot of people would not want to hear this. I'm saying she's just saying enter a market where you shouldn't be. But this is the reality of Google. Google is organic. You cannot stop being visible somewhere just because there is a regulation telling you not to be visible there.
Yeah.
If you have a good SEO, you're simply going to be visible. And now it depends on the market. Let's say we are in Poland. So let's take Poland as an example. Casino in Poland is prohibited because it's monopoly. So you shouldn't have a casino. However, betting is allowed, right? Now we need to think of the taxation on bonuses, and everything is very heavy because they don't actually really want you to be visible in Poland. They want to keep their monopoly, but because they cannot be monopoly, they give you a way of coming in as a sports betting, which doesn't make as much money as casino, let's be honest, but they slam huge taxes on it and heavy regulatory fees, such as license fees, right? But because casino makes money and Polish people are people and they want to play, there are casinos that shouldn't be here. And obviously, there is a way of government to come and stop the website. They simply can block it. And this happens on provider level. So if I have Go, and Go has got an agreement with government, they will stop me. Then I have another one. I don't know what you have here. T-Mobile. That's it.
Yes, access.
It doesn't have governmental agreements through T-Mobile. It's still visible. So in a moment you close us, we redirect. We have 301 redirects, right?
Yeah.
Because we're ranking well, 301 redirects helps us to rank again, and we keep doing this. And this is happening not just in Poland. You have it across all the markets. Turkey is extremely known for this, for example, right? And another thing is that once you are an operator, you can rely on the affiliate traffic. Affiliates don't get slammed as much because they are not really providing the service. They are just talking about the service. So you can work with affiliates. And when somebody else needs affiliation, then no, it isn't, because we still need it. People still like to read about comparison. They still like bonuses. They still like to claim special offers that you get only through affiliation. So it's not that, it's just evolving as everything. And another thing that the operator can do, even in black markets where you shouldn't be visible, it's brand protection sites, obviously. You create your brand protection site. Those usually do not get closed off. They help you to block the SERPs for your branded keywords, right? And then you send traffic to your main website. Easy as that. Through an affiliate link, obviously, so we can track it, what you're doing. So there are always ways around it. And in iGaming, we are trained to think that way.
Yeah.
When I entered it, I was really sometimes looking like, how did you even come up with it? And now your brain just starts to think like, if then, and you constantly have a plan B.
Yeah. Can you actually use Parasite SEO for evergreen tactics?
Yes. Actually, Parasite SEO works very well. And when I was just speaking about it, I'm not going to name the website, but there's a company that does it particularly well. They've got one of the best sets of SEOs, and they just simply know what they're doing. And they really, even though it's Parasite SEO, they really invest a lot in making sure that the content is good and that they implement it in the website, because they learned it's really nicely implemented. So even those websites that are Parasite SEO have nothing to do with gaming because they have huge authority, they start to rank, and they do it. If you look at it, they always have to evergreen content, the very, very good one. So Google starts to understand that there is an entity on this website that has been recently added, and it talks about this niche. If they don't have it, we saw the first website I saw, it was like good traffic, then it dropped. The other one was good traffic and went to amazing traffic because they did their homework. So yes, you can use it, and Parasite certainly works because these days SERPs are all about authority. You've got enough links, we're going to rank you because the algorithm needs to quickly understand what to rank. And links are very easy way of understanding that this website is good, even though it's not. But it's got enough backlinks. They've got, fantastic DR if you are thinking of DR or Majestic TF. And then you rank. Or LRT, whatever you use. Higher, better.
Are there any universal hooks that actually you could use across countries, across regions, and take advantage of Parasite SEO to leverage that content?
Well, the evergreen always works, and then you just go. What always works is the bonuses. Because affiliate Parasite is mainly used for affiliation. So the bonuses, and people love bonuses, and bonuses are sort of easy to rank. And as well, what is easy to rank, the brand name of the casino you're promoting, especially if they are new. Because they don't have that traffic, they usually don't have that much SEO values because they just released the casino yesterday. You as an affiliate, you are in the space for the last 10 years. You can very easily rank top 3 positions for just releasing the review on the casino or sports betting.
Can you use PBNs?
Absolutely. PBNs are used. A lot of people say that they shouldn't be used, that they are dead. A lot of people say SEO is dead.
Yeah.
I've been hearing it for the last 16 years. SEO is dead every year, at least once we do a funeral. And PBNs are the same. Look, PBNs are one of these approaches that are not exactly white hat, but in iGaming we are very much used to it because we have money, because we are such an iffy niche, and a lot of people want to, protect their children and vulnerables from being attacked with all these casino bonuses. You are not allowed there, and you are not allowed to use a lot of marketing tools, and you are not allowed to get good links. So you use PBNs, and I'm not saying they work everywhere. In the beginning, they worked everywhere. They really heavily worked in Sweden, in Finland, in Norway, Catena Media. All their websites were built on PBNs. They were very, very successful, and it was all built on PBN, and they haven't been quiet about it. Of course, they changed that approach by now. But when they started, 12, 15 years ago, it was PBN. And now it works in all the markets that are, again, very difficult to get links. If you are working and you are licensed casino in UK, of course, you'll be able to get link on The Sun or Independent, anywhere. You have that license, you are welcome. But if you are talking about Vietnam, if you are talking about Japan or any of these very difficult places, even Poland, because, casino is not regulated here, or Turkey, PBNs are the tool that we use.
And how can you leverage them in the evergreen content?
Well, you basically send yourself a link, obviously, create the tier 3, tier 2, tier 1, and then you link to your main site. They don't necessarily have to be all on gaming or betting, but because you own that PBN, you can manipulate the content to whatever it was. I have a little problem with PBNs when it is like expired domain on dog food and you suddenly put betting there.
Okay.
And then the anchor linking to the main site is that the owner's dog's name was Mr. Green and Mr. Green's casino. It just simply is not nice and it's not going to carry the value. So if I would be building a PBN, I'll be careful. I would go with the technology. I would go with things that can actually make sense to build a PBN.
Yeah,
Can
you give some examples of what kinds of content would you recommend?
So PBNs work that you get in expired domains and you put them into a certain hierarchy with the lowest value ones to the better value or to the highest value. You link them in between to create the higher value of link. And the best from the PBN is into your money side. That's how PBNs work. So you basically manipulate, you corner the market with links. Now PBNs are being used as well for citations because we know that mentions and citations are becoming more and more important. So you drop those instead of links. And citation could be with link, could be with no follow link, could be without any link, still carries a value because it's like, oh, this brand is mentioned everywhere, therefore it has to be big, it has to be good, it has to be something that people come for. It's like if you are, this is releasing a podcast every week, you're like, oh, this is everywhere. And suddenly you start to think, oh, this, and it's in your mind.
Yeah.
Mentions, citations were the same. So that's how you use PBNs as well. And it's absolutely white hat technique to increase citations, popularity of your brand. So I would say that even a white hat approach to it. But content, depending on what's your expired domain, I would say if you are doing technology, you can get right about technology because casino is running on technology. We all have platforms, that are technology. You can find that niche. You can write even PBN on films and music, it sounds a little bit iffy. But when you look at the amount of slots that are on movies, that are on music, that are musicians, or anything like that, like I recently I don't even know what keyword research I was doing, but the keyword came how to play slots Sex in the City. I don't even know there is that slot, but I started to look into it.
Wow.
So when you think of it, the amount that you have on music and TV shows and television, I mean, Narcos exists, right?
Yes.
Now, apparently Sex in the City exists. Name a movie or a popular musician that even sell their name or their license to casinos. They have money, they buy it. So it will be natural to write about that and link to the website.
And that's evergreen.
And that's evergreen. And you'll link to a very relevant page of it, maybe the one that is reviewing the slowdown activity, doesn't have to be the front page just talking about online casino or online casino bonuses. So I would go with what is relevant. Because the relevancy of the links is becoming more important than if it is PBN or if it's not. Obviously, you can buy expired domains from iGaming because a lot of people, and that's their thing, start a new website and then drop it. So you'll buy lots of links of that. A lot of them will be cheap and you can create actually a nice niche on casino, on games, on bonuses. And I would just create a PBN that is healthy. So not every article is selling link. It is not on niches that are completely irrelevant and can never, for example, if you buy expired pages on websites, on baby webs, on mommy webs, it's prohibited. It's never going to carry that value. So I would not do that. I would really think about it. And I think then you can create a good PBN that can carry a value and can be used in good ways, either for the link velocity or for the mentions and citations to manipulate the web. I use Reddit to manipulate the web because, I'm big on Reddit and I really try to understand how to work with it. And I run into frustrations because Reddit is becoming more and more careful because we know that around 50% of everything on Reddit is AI. So I try to, instead of building a subreddit and creating links, I actually do mentions of the brand. It works if you have a good brand or if you have a brand that can be good. Doesn't even have to be great now. But if it's something very generic like 123casino.com, that's not gonna work. But if you have a brand, it works.
So actually, what are the common mistakes that you see iGaming companies make when it comes to content and citations?
I think first mistake that everybody does is thinking that it's easy and they can rank them all. Mm-hmm. And because it worked for this person and they did it 20 years ago, we're going to do it now and it's going to work the same. No. So first thing is they don't do the homework of what's working now and what's working in the country they want to actually work with, Mm-hmm. So they don't prepare themselves. And there they create content that cannot convert or would not be important for the given country. So, for example, you are doing content for US sports and you're talking about football and soccer.
Yes.
Those basic mistakes, they will not understand you. So, as well, there are things that people simply don't. Are you writing a content for Australia? They will not say pokies, but so you need to do pokies because it's Australian and you want to appeal local. So they don't do the content research for them, so they don't understand what it is. Then when it comes to PBNs, either they use them where they shouldn't or they don't use them where they could. Mm-hmm. So again, being either too careless or too careful, which again comes from not understanding your market and not doing your homework. It all comes with research and understanding. And I get a lot of time clients like, I want to do this because this one pager works like magic across all these pages. And then I open the website, so like, but translate it to 27 languages. Like, because the one pager is like an entrance page that navigates you to languages doesn't mean that it's not in 27 web. And they just want to do that in English because it's easy. And I tell them like, no, but they have got actually 25,000 pages and it's translated to 27 languages. And this is how they are linked. And this is their external linking profile. And this is how much it would probably cost you. And they're like, oh, I didn't think of that. So they think because something ranks and it looks simple, that they can just do it. And they don't see how much work there is behind that. As well, a lot of time people don't understand that age is actually a real thing when it comes to domains, when it comes to ranking the website. So they expect buying a good domain, let's say it would be casinoonline.com, obviously that wouldn't be. But let's say that's a new domain that you can buy. And because you've got the exact match you think you can around. However, There's no SEO value in it. There's no history. And you're going against someone huge like us gamblers. And you think like, they don't even have the casino in the name, so we can do it easier. So timing is very important. Understanding that takes time to age the domain, to have a good timing when you enter the market, obviously. Like if I want to do World Cup 2026, I would have started in 2023. Like by now, it would be a little bit too late because there's just 1 year. So, but you need to think. And then you will see a lot of operators actually adding the content 2 months before because they forget. So timing, it takes time, not just to rank it, but for Google to understand, for people to understand that they can come to build the links. Because when you start to build links, and we shouldn't say it, but even if you buy it, it doesn't go live tomorrow because you need to create the content to be placed. The very quality website would have a schedule how much they release date post. So maybe they do just 2 a month. So we need to get into that schedule. So they forget that everything takes time. Just like in normal life, things don't happen overnight. Doesn't happen in SEO, no matter how good is your plan and how big is your budget.
Yeah. So actually, how much ahead should you start when you're preparing for different events?
Events depends how big, but World Cup is going to be huge. And you are going against operators that are operating for years and they've got SEO value. You are going against affiliates are huge, are going are around for many years and are known to be, creating traffic for football. So I would have started at least 2 years ago to build up a good website, create content about all the events, pre-events, and create something that would be unique to me. Maybe I would have an expert that would be telling me about the odd predictions, what they expect. As well, when creating this content, to be careful. You cannot really write about profiles of the players because you're using it for commercial purposes.
Yeah.
So you cannot use that because they can sue you. You can only use those if that's just like fan website that is never going to make money, but you're not going to build that website. You're going to build a website that's going to make money. So you need to be clever and need to give enough signals to Google that and other ranking that search engine that you are about football and you are building up for the World Cup, and you should be taking as an expert in that one thing. Unless you're doing Parasite and you buy a website for $1 million and just put obviously football. But you are starting from fresh, you have a new domain. Link building, as I said, takes time and it's expensive. So, you need to think of that. You're simply not going to be able to spend $100,000 in a month just to get a good link profile. You're going to try to be clever about it. You're going to probably try to create a good content. If you don't have that money, you're going to try to create sort of getting the links for free because maybe you create a study about football. It's going to take you 3 months to create a good study and then somebody link to it. Yeah. Of course, but it's going to take you time to get the data and get that idea and get it published somewhere. So it's all about timing. And 3 months, it's already 1/4 of the year.
Yeah.
And you've got 4 of those and then it's football.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of time.
So with such example, when should the website go live? How much of the content should you have ready before it goes live? And should you continually add? And if so, how frequently?
I think you need enough content for Google to understand because we are talking about starting fresh, right? From new domain. So you most likely, 99%, you're going to go to sandbox because you're unknown and you're competing in extremely saturated web. So you need to have enough content for Google to understand where to put you through that index in each category. Like, are you affiliate website for football? Are you operator for football? Are you fan page for football? Are you a big site? Are you a small site? You're going to start to compare. You're going to start to compare your content and your visits and your mentions on the web and the backlink profile. So imagine the amount of time you need to build up to actually be important. Unless you break all the rules, you start on an expired domain and, get all the traffic manipulation and CTR manipulation. Then you start closer to the event because you're not going to last. But that, that's once again, it's iffy because it could work and you can outrun everyone. It might not work. It could work and you can lose all of it day before the big event. So I always, even though I look into all the black and obviously I need to understand it, I need to know what's going on. I always evangelize for more the long-term approach because once you invest the money, you probably want to have an investment for life. You want to sell it, and you're not going to sell it if it's running on black hat tactics that's going to be taken away from you tomorrow. However, I'm not saying they don't work. They work. It's just the question is for how long and what's your strategy? Are you long-term or are you short-term and you're doing churn and burn? And if you're doing that and you are ready to lose everything, then that's fine too. but don't expect that you're going to be around for next 10 years if you are breaking every rule and you're manipulating and, you know, you're probably going to disappear.
Yeah. So actually, what is the proportion of evergreen content compared to the very fresh event that is getting the hype, the trendy topics on such domains?
For me, the evergreen is a signal. It's a signal, it's a base what the website is about. So once you cover that, then you don't have to really work with that much and you create more trending content.
Okay, so you start with that.
I would start with that because
evergreen.
yes, of course. Because I would do, let's say I'm starting the new casino website, I would want to cover to give a signal to Google that I understand what is casino, what are bonuses, what are game providers, what are payment providers, all of these things that people usually search for. And then I will decide if I'm going to go more the bonus thing. So I'll start to be expert in bonus and negotiate with my people if we are getting special bonuses. And we're going to be ranking for no deposit bonus, no wagering bonus, all of these very, very popular things. Or we're going to be experts on games. And then we're going to be writing about all the new released games. And I make deals with the providers. So I'm first one to know about the games and review them and rank through the name. So you need to decide. But you will always start to have more of the newer content because you will be reviewing newer casinos and newer providers and newer games.
Okay.
But they need to link somewhere, they need to have their entity to understand that this is a game or this is a casino or this is a bonus. And then whatever bonuses are coming, it still needs to be in that entity of bonuses.
Yeah, the internal linking is oftentimes overlooked.
Extremely.
Yeah. What are your good, what is your advice when it comes to internal linking?
People need to understand that internal links are here for several reasons. First of all, they help humans to navigate, right? When you are reading something, you want to click. When something is interesting to you, you want to click and read more about it, right? Or you're reading about product and you are really looking for shoes. You want to click on the link and see if the shoes are for you. So you want to click to the page that is dealing with shoes, for example, on the website. So internal links are very important for our navigation because you cannot put everything in the top menu or the bottom menu, not when the website has got 1,000 pages. As well, it helps crawlers to navigate. So you are optimizing how the website is being crawled. You're helping your crawl budget. Google is constantly cutting on our crawl budget, because the web is getting bigger and Google is simply limited. So things that are not good, you will see when you go to your Google Search Console, you will see things that are discovered, not crawled, because Google found it and simply didn't have enough crawl budget to look into it. Where you've got pages that are crawled but not ranking because Google crawled it and thought, we've got enough of those pages out there, you are not enough of a quality. So they are limiting themselves as well, because as I said, it's so easy right now to start a new website and, throw 10 of them out there every day. We didn't have that 20 years ago. 20 years ago, it was much easier. And now you're helping the crawl budgets and you're helping the bots actually to navigate. And once you create all of this, we have got constant Google updates and those help with stability. Because if you have got just pages that are not linked, if you manage to run without internal links, just the main menu, those pages can disappear. But if they are internal links, the value is going to be passed, the SEO value to choose the traffic. So there's a chance that some pages are going to be more stable through that. So you should be assigning like this page is about bonuses. I'm going to link to it as bonuses. I'm not going to link to it as casino, as games, as sports, nothing. So you always create your entity and link throughout that entity. So you have bonuses and then you go more granular. You go to what is no wager bonus, what is no deposit bonus, what is cashback bonus. You explain those and you link from the smaller pages to the bigger page, and from the bigger page, the mother of the page is the bonus to the smaller pages. Because you're creating and seeing that there is a relationship between them. And that's how we do it with all the pages.
Okay. Do you ever remove content?
Of course. Many times you have a content that is outdated or content that simply, no matter what you try, it doesn't get crawled, doesn't get indexed. So you can remove it. You either merge it, remove it. If it doesn't ever have any SEO value, there are no backlinks, if there is no traffic, just remove it. If there is any value, try to redirect it to the nearest similar page to it.
Do you need to refresh this sort of evergreen content, like what is slots, how to play bingo?
I think sometimes it's a good idea to refresh, even though Google always says that freshness is a ranking signal, but we know that freshness is good. Because if I'm reading something, I want to make sure that, okay, this article is from 2012. Is it still valid? So I think it's good to go. Maybe just change the header or change internal links to it. Or maybe there is a new type of poker and you can put it there as well. This exists. So even the evergreen content needs to be now and then refreshed because, first of all, would you believe in content that is 5 years old, 10 years old? Would you be sure that it's and then we have got, when you look at Google Search Console, you've got discovery and freshness. So Google keeps checking if the pages were refreshed. Obviously, they're checking like, is the website growing with my crawler? Am I going to rank that? Oh, and has that been refreshed? Should I check for it? So freshness is definitely important. They keep saying it's not ranking. I don't know if it is, if it's not, but as a normal, common sense kind of person, I would refresh.
And how much refreshing do you have to do? Is it enough, for example, to just change the date?
I think just to trick the people, yes, but sometimes you just have a content and you read through it and you think you can do better, or you can enlarge it or make it smaller. And now Google is going, we had this trend of skyscraper method and making, they have got 2000 pages, of course we're going to have 2020, we're going to have 2030, and we just keep growing. And now Google is going more into that entity, so you don't have 5 pages of 10,000 words. You have got lots of pages, more explanatory, linked together as a cluster. So it's going more to the being more easy to understand for the crawlers, for the humans, for the index. So it's going towards smaller pages. So maybe if you have 10 pages where you are explaining something in extreme amount of words, and humans and crawlers never reach the bottom, maybe refresh those, maybe rewrite them, maybe change how it is presented, maybe even just you have a wall of text and now you're seeing that blocks are written more and you can actually put CTA or picture or statistics or a quote. That's how the content is working these days. It's changed. So you will need to change your content. Doesn't mean that you need to change every word in it, but maybe how it is spaced out.
Do you ever let a piece of content decay on purpose?
On purpose, not, but by forgetting or being too busy, for sure, it happens. And then you see that good content stop performing and some simply disappears and it's run. So I wouldn't do it on purpose. If it's a content I don't want, then I would just either rewrite it or remove it. But just letting it rot is not good.
Okay. And what are your tips for making sure that you don't duplicate your content?
This is good because as the website is growing big, many times it looks duplicated. And that's why we work with the clustering. So you try to map out your website and create clusters and then topic authority on that cluster, right? So, and then you help and support it with the internal links because it's so easy to go that way. So you need to create a map of your website and go with the clusters. So we don't work just like with a keyword and a keyword research. I still do it just to understand what people are looking for because we search differently. Every year it's search different. You do keyword research now to 10 years ago, it's different. You would have online casino. Now you have questions and people actually ask more about it. So you want to make sure that you answer all of that in your keyword research. But I wouldn't do keyword research like this keyword I want on that page 200 times. I would do more like people are talking about this. I'm going to create sentences about that. I'm sure in algorithm there is that you need to have this keyword, this keyword, this keyword. But if you write naturally, you're still going to cover them, but you're going to actually create a good content for humans because there's one thing is to run the website and that's our job, but another thing is to convert. And what you have, even the best ranking pages, if people don't convert it, the conversion is 1%, so you need to make sure that the content is not written just for ranking, but as well for converting. And I think this is what people forget.
Like, what is like an example of evergreen keyword that is the most surprising to you that keeps performing very well, even though you wouldn't think from the top of your head that it would last that long?
I actually don't know. Probably the payment methods are really persistent.
Really?
Yeah. Because people actually, you don't think of it when you're creating the website for casino, the payment methods are going to be the goal. But in the moment people start looking for how to pay, how to withdraw, how to deposit, they want to deposit or withdraw, so they want to convert. So I would say those are the surprisingly best converting keywords, even if the search volume is lower.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And now obviously crypto. Crypto is growing. That's not like long term, but So I don't see like for years that crypto is performing, but now anything crypto, it's really creeping up, and it has got good conversion as well.
And it's interesting because when you mention the payment method, it's not even that explicitly casino related, right?
Yeah, but in different countries, because of the regulations and licenses, you've got different payment methods that you are able to use.
Yeah.
So people ask like, can I use debit card in Norway? Can I use this in this with this license? Because sometimes, let's say you have MGA license and you are okay to use this, and then you have Curacao license, you are not okay to use it.
Yeah.
So that's why, and if people have started to search for this, actually are thinking of using the casino rather than how to play roulette. Maybe they just or how to play poker. Maybe they just watch the Molly's game and they want to understand the rules, but they don't really want to convert necessarily. But you still need to have this educational content.
Yes. So with the keyword like that, the example of the how to use this payment method, do you also compete with other verticals that would potentially want to rank on that other than iGaming?
Could be, but we always then connected with casino. Like, how can I use this payment method in casino?
Okay.
And then obviously the keywords are really creeping up. It's crypto casino, crypto methods in casino, and all the crypto, names connected with casinos. So that's a whole niche. And there was a time, now it's a little bit dying, but there was like the 1-2 pages website just covering, let's say, Bitcoin casino or Tether USD casino. And they would rank and you would make money on that because it's just so niche. Now it's a little bit dying off, but there was a time when it was really still working, but it was working even better.
And how do you leverage AI in scaling and making everything more efficient when it comes to evergreen content creation?
I think, especially in this conference, AI was covered finally in a way that we should use it, because before it was like, you throw it in ChatGPT, you give them this prompt, and you have content. This is finally when people are saying like, okay, and this is how this tool helps you organize the content. And it helps you organize the release of the content. And it reminds you that now you want to do, it helps you with scheduling or what needs to be done. It helps you organize what needs to be done to create a good content as well. With understanding backlink profiles, it used to be a very manual job, Now you can have a tool that analyzes all of that for you and tell you competitors are having this, you are not. And this is all done with AI tools that we didn't have a year ago, and they are just starting to be popular because this is the first time we're starting to understand that AI in SEO doesn't mean it's going to rewrite your content. It doesn't mean it's going to do your job. It's just creating tools to help you do your job in a new way, maybe in a better way, maybe in a faster way, but it helps you do your job. It doesn't do your job for you, which we were doing before last March update. If you remember the bloodbath, it was like AI that really washed out. We were like, that was 2024. So 2023, when Google said AI is content, the content is okay, we all started to do it. And you had this influx of horrible websites with AI content. It was ranking, because it was expired domain, AI content, no internal links, publishing 5,000-10,000 articles a week instead of 10, buying some horrible links and ranking, and it worked. And suddenly it isn't. That was for us using AI in iGaming, in SEO. I don't know other niches. I don't want to say because I don't know. Yeah. But in iGaming, that's what we did. And affiliate websites, you could easily make tens of thousands of euros doing that. And suddenly you can, because marginally came, all of this disappeared, of course, and the quality stayed. So you will still see us gamblers. You will still see lots of quality websites, gambling.com, all of the ones that are there for a long time. They are doing proper SEO. They are not manipulating it. They are creating evergreen content and other content stuff in a good way. So this is the first conference where we're discussing how to actually use AI. And we are talking about good ways to do it. And I learned extremely a lot about how it can help you with lots of things. Even like in content creation, they were explaining like how you do content creation, but it helps you understand like, this is what your content should be. This is what it should have. And please write it yourself, sort of. And even if the AI is going to write it, they said AI content still can rank. But in my experience, it doesn't rank that well. Plus, if you read the human raters, it says that AI content is okay. However, rank it the worst. So if you want to rank well, you still need to create a good content. And as well, if you're going to create AI content with AI tool, you're going to use the prompt several times, which becomes expensive, right? Because you have a first draft, then you want to change something. So it's time consuming. It's actually money consuming. And in the end, you have a human editor to go through it.
Yes.
So in my opinion, it's just easier to use the tools in a correct way. Keyword research, organization of the content, checking your competitors. I use it many times, like keywords that people are searching in ChatGPT. I ask for those when I do keyword research. Of course I do, because people are using ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I want to run there as well, But then I create my plan, learnings from what AI tells me that happened, and then I give it to a human person to please write this, in a way that how the website is. So go with the tone of voice and write it for a human by human.
So actually, can you get away in iGaming without using AI at this point?
Without.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so, because it's there to help. And we finally starting to understand how, and I think if you do it properly, it can scale up your workload very much. It can help you. It can move a website from startup to scale up. So I think AI is great. If you use it correctly, it is great. If you abuse it, it's not going to help you. It is a tool to help. It's not there to think for you. Just can't. Doesn't have emotions. Doesn't have opinion. You give it the opinion. So it just gives you facts.
So how do you see the future of evergreen marketing developing?
I think there will be basics that will stay forever, like the healthy website. I mean, there are things that will never change, because you will always need, at least foreseeable future, a normal domain where you are going to be writing. And even people think AI overuse, but they still learn from your domain. You know what I mean? They still learn from somewhere. If everybody stops publishing, if we stop doing good content, evergreen, not evergreen, then the AI is going to learn. We know that AIs are learning on Reddit, they are learning on Wikipedia, they are learning on YouTube. If we don't publish there, then there's no new content, there's no new learning. So future, certain basics, certain rules will stay, just like we talked about the technical setups, the technical health. The evergreen content as a signal for an entity, for sure. How are we going to create that content? Maybe one day there'll be AI that will be amazing to help us with it. I cannot say. I don't actually know. But for now, I think we are starting to have that healthy relationship with AI.
And what are the basics that will never change?
The technical setup, at least for now, because even if AIs take over, they still need to come to your website and crawl it. So if you don't allow them to crawl it, they have nowhere to learn. So if you want to appear in the AI overviews as a source, you need to hunt the AIs. A lot of websites don't do it. They actually block the AI crawlers. ChatGPT not to actually go to their website. They're afraid to scrape, So they're afraid somebody scraped that and rebuilds the website. So that's happening.
So do you actually think it's a good idea in certain cases to block it?
Depends if you want to be seen in the AI and ChatGPT or not. In iGaming, AI overviews don't exist that much, because we are not included in that part that is actually growing in that, because we are your life, your money.
Yeah.
And there's so much regulation, so much legislation. They don't really dare to write about that, because they can hallucinate and that's bad. Some retention keywords are ranking in AI overviews, such as, results of last night football match.
Yeah.
That would be there. But for us, it's not such a threat, AI overviews yet. But if it comes to it, I would want to be seen there as a source. I would want to be using ChatGPT as a source. So if you Google Ivana Flynn in ChatGPT, it will give you sources where they found me. So podcasts where I spoke, conference where I spoke, because my name is out there. It's some of the information is outdated, but they find me somewhere. So you need to be visible, that's the mention. And you need to allow those pages to be crawled with ChatGPT, for example, or others. So I would allow it, because I would want to be visible. But I understand that if there is a website that spends lots of money in research and lots of money in creating content, and then somebody comes and scrape it all, rewords it a little bit, uploads it, and outranks them, then they're probably worried. And it happened in iGaming a lot. So I see why they would block it.
I see. So what other basics stay and don't change?
For now, definitely links. I think they're going to stay, because we see that links are still working. Content, because even if you don't write it for Google, because you don't believe that Google can understand that humans can, and they need to see why to buy this product or bet on your market, So the absolute common sense basics, the healthy website, the good content, and the links. I mean, the basics of SEO are staying. They are there for a long time. They are maybe a little bit modifying. They are changing how we do them. Just like Parasite SEO, it is not the classical website we are used to, but they are ranking because they've got amazing backlink profile, right? So the links.
Yeah.
I don't think anytime soon those three basics will change. Maybe something will change how we do them or how important they are. Maybe links will be more or less important, content will be more or less important. The soft metrics might grow in importance, but they'll still be there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ivana,
Thank you
for
for having
sharing
me.
all your knowledge, especially after a busy day.
Thank you for having me.
So, if you liked our conversation, please follow Ivana on LinkedIn. If you would like to learn more or need Ivana's consultation or creating evergreen content and website optimization, please contact her. Follow me on LinkedIn, subscribe to this channel, and like this episode. Thank you. See you next time.
Thank you very much.